everybody, it's Gil here with the Sailing Vessel Dream Chaser, and in last week's episode, you saw me take you to the Barnegat Lighthouse and give you a little bit of the history behind that lighthouse. I also had an awesome surprise. I took Chasity to go see Hamilton on Broadway. She's talked about it for years and years. It was a really, really cool thing to be able to do. She was excited. I couldn't believe how much I really enjoyed the play myself. This week, we celebrate Father's Day. We go back and visit a little bit on the farm, and I decided to go ahead and take Chaz with me on another little adventure to another big city in the U.S. Hope you guys enjoyed this week's video. Oh, and as you can see, this is the kind of week it is. I'm actually filming the intros in an airport, stuck in Chicago.
Good morning, everybody. It's a little chilly. I guess that's all relative, though, but shorts and a t-shirt, and it feels just chilly enough without the sun being up too long that the coffee really kind of warms you up. Well, I figured I'd go ahead and give you an update. So, my dad got out of the rehab center yesterday. So it was our first day back at the house. First time he's walked up a couple of steps. There's just a few going into the house. There's two coming out of the garage, two from the back deck into the house, and it was quite the navigation for him. You know, he's still pretty weak, getting better, but I think it's going to be doing these things that's going to help. You know, continuing to do those sort of daily life activities. So we have been home for, I don't know, I guess we got home yesterday at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and, enjoyed our evening. He navigated the house a little bit, see how well he could do that with the wheelchair and or, using a walker. So it's slow going, but somewhat workable. So over the next couple of weeks, we'll see how well he gets to doing his regular sort of activities again. I know he's happy to be in his own house, in his own bed. I had a cool little reunion, actually, when we got home yesterday. I put the little dog in the kennel just so that the dog wouldn't get underneath his feet or something while he was walking into the house. And once he sat down at the table, let the cocoa out and, jumped up on him. You could tell they missed each other. It was kind of a touching little moment. So we'll establish kind of how well we get in and out of bed this morning. Getting in bed was slow, but he was able to do all that on his own. I'm kind of hoping he'll be able to get out of bed on his own. It's not one of those powered beds like they have in a hospital or a nursing rehab center. So I think that's going to be the hardest part, is going from that completely horizontal position to sitting up. And then it'll be slow getting in, over to, to the walker and up out of the bed. But we'll work through it. And the good news is he wants to do as much of this as he can. And I said before, I will help in any way you need me to, but first you got to try it. So the good news is he wants to do that, and it's a very awkward and weird position to be in as a kid, kind of telling your parent, hey, you got to do this, or I'm here to help, but I want you to do it. It's just the opposite of what you always remember growing up, when your parents encouraged you, and now it's your role doing the same back. So been an interesting experience nonetheless. I think the big question is, how much longer will I likely be here? I don't exactly know. It could very well be a month or two at least. That's kind of what I'm thinking. But I will say that hasn't stopped some of the activities. As you saw, we loaded the camper back up in Florida, got it all set up. We kind of set ourselves for a couple of months at a long stay campground. Deb has been doing a tremendous job down there, kind of taking care of everything as far as that goes. She's been looking at houses. We did find one that we both really liked. It was one that we sounded out, and in the video earlier you saw us in a boat sounding out depths of canals. We found one that was right at the intersection of two canals, so very, very accessible, good deep water, all the things we really wanted in a waterfront section. The house had a little bit less of the features that we really, really wanted. It met all the needs, but we have this sort of rating scale for things like a fourth bedroom and outdoor living area and west facing, so that in the afternoon the backyard and pool area tends to be a little bit shaded. So we sort of have this list of things we'd like to have, and this had 3 bedrooms, not 4, and it was north facing, so the southern exposure to the pool side. So we went ahead and put an offer in on it. It was pending already. We put an offer in it, so we're sort of a backup contract. I actually don't know that we will get it, unless something just falls through with the first ones. the beauty of all this is, I don't really care if we get this one or we don't, and we wait till the next. And that's a really comforting position to be in. It helps our negotiation power. It helps our ability not to have to settle. So that's been really good. Back on Dream Chaser, my daughter's been staying on it, and everything's going fairly well over there, except for we got sort of a letter from the marina. They're now becoming a clean certified marina, and they want to do inspections of all boats that have people living aboard them. So we got a letter. They want to go ahead and check ours out. I'm fine with it. We have the Lectrasan. We're completely compliant. But when I hear something like that, it starts to make me wonder. They wanted to get rid of the liveaboards at some point. We've sort of heard rumors about that when this marina was purchased, that they were going to convert it to some waterfront, riverfront housing and sell the lots, and maybe reduce the size of the marina. So maybe that's happening. Maybe this is a step toward it. I don't know, but I think we should be fine there. But it's always nerve-wracking when you get something like that, and this one wasn't just addressed to everybody at the marina. This was to us, and I suspect it's just to the people who pay a liveaboard fee, which is why we got it. So anyway, it'll be interesting.
So as you know, I've been in New Jersey for quite some time, and my sister did something really cool. As you saw, Dad's back home from the hospital. That's awesome. He's now at home doing some recovery. And as you can imagine, after 2 months in the hospital, you start wanting some good food. You watch commercials all day long about all these restaurants, and he had a list of things he wouldn't mind having. Well, my sister did something cool. She went ahead and ordered Red Lobster for Father's Day. One, my dad had been wanting it, and two, it was available on like DoorDash or Grubhub or one of those places that deliver. And it was a nice little gift for me as well, given that I didn't have to prepare the meal. So we ended up sitting out on the back patio eating Red Lobster on a beautiful day, the day after my dad got out of the hospital. So that was really cool. Thanks, sis. Appreciate it. So after a couple of days of wanting to get Chasity out of the house and wanting to get my dad moving around a little bit more, we decided to go back up to my aunt's farm. So we loaded up in the car. We went up toward Browntown, which is actually the name of a small town near Old Bridge, New Jersey, and we found the house that my mom grew up in. It was kind of neat to go ahead and find this. She stayed in here with her 5 other siblings and her mom and dad, and it was a tiny little house. But I remember going as a kid. My grandparents both passed away when I was pretty young, but I remember going to this house. So we found it and took a little bit of footage of it, and then you can kind of see some of the fun that Chaz had on the farm with some of the new puppies and additions. Is that yours?
This one's mine.
What's his name?
Her name is Sadie.
Oh, her. Sorry. Well, she said I don't know if it's a boy or girl. I said it's a boy. He's got a weenus. But he doesn't. Nope, guess not.
I guess not.
Nice catch. Nice catch, Star. How do you like those dogs, Chaz?
I love them.
Why?
They're so soft and that one's extra playful, but especially the dog, extra playful.
So we had something really cool happen when we went up to the farm. My cousin actually works the farm stand, right? So she tends to work the little produce market that's there, and that's one of her jobs in the sort of family business. So when we drove up there, my dad came and Chaz came, and when we got there, right, and I came out, gave my cousin a hug, told her dad was out in the car. He wasn't going to get out and walk around with the walker on the farm, but she went out and talked to him, right, just sitting right in front of the farm stand there. So it was kind of cool. While she was chatting with him, Chasity and I took a big walk. We went through the orchards, and I took her out, down to pick some strawberries and showed her the whole sort of setup that I had the tour of a few weeks ago. And as we came back up the hill from the orchard, I went by the farmhouse to see if my aunt was in there, and I didn't hear her in there. So we walked back over to the car, and my aunt was there talking to my dad. Now, my dad hasn't seen most of these kids in almost 30 years, so it was really cool that he got to see my cousin there. So while I was kind of waiting to pick out some produce and some fresh eggs and things I was going to buy, a truck pulled up, and they were just coming back from one of the local farmers markets that they sell at. So my cousin John was there too, and he got to go over and talk to my dad and spend some time visiting, and my dad enjoyed that really quite a bit, as he hadn't seen his family in a long time. It was kind of funny. He was making a comment about I guess my cousin was telling him about one of my other cousins who was moving into one of these like retirement over 55 places, and my dad's like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe he's that old." And my cousin says, I'm already almost that age. Of course my older brother is. So it was funny how time sort of slips away. About a month and a half ago, my dad was still in ICU. My sister came down at the same time I was here. We decided to go to Vic's Italian Restaurant. It's a place my dad and Marlene used to go all the time. So after we left the farm and my dad was out of the hospital, I asked him if he wanted to run by and get dinner at Vic's, and he was definitely on board with that. So we stopped over for a little bit, enjoyed a nice pizza pie, and he even ended up having a beer. So it was a good day for him for sure.
Not gonna say hi? Hi, Whit. I'm gonna embarrass her and film her eating if she doesn't say hi.
Dude, I have a reason on my page.
My work schedule has been really flexible, and the company I work for is phenomenal about giving me kind of as much time off as I need or the flexibility of travel, which was really great. But in this week, I had a company event I was going to. It was a team meeting. I was doing with my team and a few of my peers and their team. So there were going to be about 100 of us or so, all traveling to Chicago for several days. So we planned it ahead of time, and my sister came up that week. She flew in Sunday, and I was going to fly out first thing Monday morning and then come back on Friday or Saturday the week after. And originally I was going to fly Chaz back to Fort Myers, but I decided instead to see if she wanted to go with me to Chicago. She did. And I said, as long as you're cool hanging out in the hotel most of the days, because, you know, this is a company event, so during the day there's meetings, and in the evening there's, you know, events or whatever. She jumped on the opportunity, and it was a great way that we got to spend some time together. So let me take you along for this ride. My sister flew into Jersey on Sunday. We flew out first thing Monday morning, which gave us all day Monday to explore the city of Chicago. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, Chaz had to stay sort of in the room or in the hotel, right? I didn't want her going out on her own. But we had a great time, and I'll share with you some of the little adventures that we were able to pack into just a short amount of time. Alright, this is the Chicago Hilton we're staying at. Chaz and I are going to take the little blue bikes. Go. The breakfast. We're doing the little divvy bikes. So we just stopped at a little place called Stan's Donuts on Michigan Avenue in Chicago, and we're sitting outside because it's starting to drizzle a little bit. But here you go, there's a little tiny bird here, and it keeps coming up to the table, so Chasity started feeding it. It's literally eating the food off of a fork right in front of her. It's crazy. I can't believe how close he is. I love that. So while Chaz and I are in Chicago, we decided to do one of these Windilla boat tours. It kind of goes through the Chicago River. I'm not sure, I can't remember if this one goes out into Lake Michigan or not. I didn't think it did. It's essentially an architecture tour, but, you know, pretty cool. Flat bottom boats with open seating up top. Looked like it might rain, so we're thinking about sitting down below, and there's benches that kind of look outward, so it'll be a nice little view as we go here. I don't know why it seems so odd to me to see just pleasure boats in here too. It's kind of cool. There's There's a, I don't know, probably a 30-footer right there, and this is probably about a 38 or 40-foot carver. And going right through downtown. So, cheers to Chicago.
To design the most beautiful building in the entire world. That was a winning design of over 259 entries in that contest. And the architects won a cash prize of $100,000 for having that beautiful winning design that we love so much in our city today. Can't imagine what that would equate to today in today's dollars. $100,000 in 1922. Really amazing. That's the architect. She does some really great things in our city. She's actually just approved our city's design and new expansion of O'Hare Airport, which is an $85 billion project. But it's actually all that other things. The tallest, most west-leaning building next to us was knocked down about a month ago at 101 stories tall. This building, once it's complete, will be used for.
It's kind of a cool view of the Chicago River, and that building right there behind us is a Trump Tower. Kind of wild. And we're getting ready to rotate here. This Army Corps of Engineer lock. Pretty cool. It'd be neat if we went through it, but I don't know that we will. A little bit like the Boardwalk Beast here. What a tremendous photo here, huh? It's a pretty great view of the Chicago skyline from the Chicago River, right at the mouth of the Lake Michigan lock. Chaz got a kick out of this. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a cone hanging from a rope right there. She said the cone hung itself. I think I'm going to end the video right here this week in the middle of the architecture tour on the Chicago River. Join us next week as we finish up this tour, and then Chaz and I go and visit Navy Pier in Chicago. It's going to be a good time. So, from Gil, Deb, and the kids aboard the sailing vessel Dream Chaser, safe sailing. We'll see you guys again next Friday night. Bye now.